Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. It's a morning show, slightly early as usual of schedule. But then again, like my brother says, I've been all over the place this week. And oh, good, I almost lost my mind yesterday. This Florida Cup business. But no doubt, we'll get into that a little bit later on. See you guys on the other side of this music intro. Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Now, I usually say, make sure you subscribe, and all that jazz, but we're not going to say that. We're going to say happy birthday to somebody on this live podcast today. And it is my brother. Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you very much. Oh my word! I like that.
How's it feel to be 60?
I can still snap you from this distance, right?
No, serious, bro. Listen, you've been a real source of or a fountain of knowledge, and like we just said before we went live, you've always been there protecting me when I was younger. Not so much now, so we're both grown up now. But love you lots, bro. Love you lots. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. Thanks very much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go on. You want to say something? Because it's your birthday. Go on.
No, I'm just literally. I'm very. I say I'm very blessed. It's great that we've got James in the house. I've got to talk to Des and Eltel later about his project that we're working on. So I've done some homework last night, and I tell you what, actually, in doing the homework, it is really kind of. I don't want to take it. I don't want to go or be negative or anything. It's a bit of an eye opener when you see the history of Arsenal and what we are still yet to accomplish, and how comes it's taken us so long doing things that other clubs, our rivals, have done in short space of time or have been consistent. So it was a bit of an eye opener for me, being I say I'm a fan. I'm an armchair fan. I've only gone to maybe a handful of games, but my kind of like allegiance to his club, through all the highs and the lows and the middle points, it was a bit of an eye opener in terms of like cup competitions, not FA Cups. I'm on about the European stage, the bigger stage, and to see, as I mentioned with you the other day, that our competitors seem to have, our rivals have gotten to a position where if they want to challenge, they can challenge, and we're nowhere near that. And we're talking, I've been an Arsenal fan since '71. So yeah, it's an eye opener. So it's humbling, but it's an eye opener.
Morning, James. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me back on. First and foremost, happy birthday, Ralph. You certainly don't look 60. You look very much younger, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
yes, and take it down a notch, guys. I'm not 60. I'm 58.
58. My goodness.
I'm 58.
Well, you don't
So thank you very much,
Jack. You certainly don't look it. You look very young.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, actually, before we get into this one, sorry guys, I don't want to delay this, but just Ralph speaking about the segment that he's going to be doing with LTL and the Enforcer. It's going to be on Des's platform, not on Cannon Fodder TV, but it has kind of given me a kick up the backside, because I do need to get back and doing the player profile, which is one of the segments that I really do love doing, researching the players who play for Arsenal over the last 40, 50, and sometimes 60 years. And I'll tell you what, James, all the bubblegum content that I actually I've done over the last 3 years, the player profile segment, I get comments even up to now, James. And I started that segment maybe like 2 years ago. People talking about, nostalgic about the Arsenal of old, James. I still those comments, those contents there, it's still running, James, in the background.
Well, it just goes to show. I think as we stare into the abyss, I think it will be more and more prevalent. How People will pine for the nostalgia. I've been saying to Dutch colleagues, to friends, and it translates as the following. We used to be streets ahead of Chelsea, streets, but now they are cities ahead of us, especially in Europe. I see a lot of Arsenal fans on social media saying, who is the bigger club? Well, if you look at the here and now, we haven't won a league title since 2004. We've never won a European Cup. Chelsea have reached 3 finals and won 2 of them. If you look at their buying policy, they went out and brought Ben Chilwell for a very good price. Arsenal had a derisory bid of £3 million rejected from Leicester for Ben Chilwell back in 2015. And the Arsenal fans love to console themselves that Tierney's better than Chilwell. No, he's not. And they love to console themselves about, the transfers, who we're going to buy. They like to play, kingmaker, and they like to make pairs of who could be the ideal midfield. But when you scratch the surface, the players they want don't score goals in the midfield. So how are we going to score goals next season? I maintain what I say. If we carry on with this malaise, we will be a championship club within the next 3 to 5 seasons. A lot of people say, oh, well, you must be very negative. No, I love my club, but when I look around at our fan base, who used to be so clued up, used to be so respectful, and now for the majority of the younger generation, it's all about the likes, it's all about the clout, it's all about the retweets. They come out with the most absurd information. As someone who interviews professional players and managers, has 5 years experience and over 300 players and managers, I try to let them know, no, that's not how it works, this, and this. But they're not interested. So they just kind of use YouTube or fantasy football or FIFA to gain their information. And I just think to myself, what has our club become? We are just an investment subsidiary for Kroenke Holdings is what we are. We're not based in America, we're based in England, but we're just a healthy investment for him. We buy players that are far too comfortable. You see Aubameyang cruising around in his Lamborghini, blasting his rap music, doing his finger signs. And then you see Azpilicueta, who I saw play for Osasuna against Real Madrid in April 2010, fighting, never giving up, and he's European champion. That Osasuna game saw Osasuna go 2-0 up in the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. Osasuna had Azpilicueta on the right and Monreal on the left. And they looked really, really good. It's just they couldn't hold out in such a cauldron of an atmosphere. And I just think Arsenal at the minute, every supporter, especially on social media, they want to be right. They want to be heard. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that important. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What is important is the long-term welfare of the football club, not the opinion of one particular influencer, not the opinion of one particular big Arsenal podcast that has loads and loads of views. It's when you deal in professional football and when you work in professional football like I do, you have to respect players and managers at all times. You have to understand the workings of the game. I see Arsenal fans saying, oh, we can buy this one. Oh, we can buy that one. Any young player that's coveted by Arsenal this summer, they've only got to say 2 words when they rock up for the negotiations. William Saliba. Can you, as a football club, ensure that I won't end up in the same position as William Saliba? No, we can't. See you later. I'm off. I'm going to go and speak to somebody else. Arsenal spent £20 million on Saliba, and we won't see him in an Arsenal shirt again. Arsenal fans are pining for a new centre-half to go together with Gabriel because he's brilliant. Is he really that good? And in terms of buying a centre-half, we've got an English-raised youth prospect by the name of Daniel Ballard, who hasn't just gone on loan to Blackpool, helped them get promoted to the division above. So you can't tell me that he's not ready to play for Arsenal. I think if Arsenal go out and sign another defender instead of promoting Ballard, I think it's a massive oversight. You see about Smith Rowe, people saying, "Oh, we can swap Smith Rowe for Grealish." Smith Rowe, before he arrived, was in the was coveted by Monaco. That tells you how good he is. And at the minute, it's like with Onana. Oh, he's brilliant. He was worth 35 million before his ban. But the fact remains he has not played since January. He hasn't played a competitive game since January. We are now in June. But he was worth 35 million according to the Twitter brigade, so he must be brilliant. He has lapses in concentration. You saw the time wasting in the Champions League semi-final against Spurs. It was his time wasting which led to the extra time in which Tottenham Hotspur scored their goal. We've really got to come away from this player. My Twitter handle, my G, my influencer's best, because they really don't. They really don't. They say some awful things which have no correlation and no relevance to actual professional football. And I believe that we've got to start to do our talking on the pitch, and come away from this name culture. The Leicester dealing names. Was Vardy a name? Was Albrighton a name? Was Sonjiku a name? Was Castagna? No, they weren't. But they're all competent footballers. But as I say, if we carry on down this road, guys, we will be a championship club in the next 3 to 5, in my opinion.
Here's a footnote before I go to Ralph. I try and make that our subscribers are prepared and armed with the information that we put out almost every single day. I always say, don't take our word for it as gospel truth. Just because I'm reading it, I give my opinion, but I always say to all the subscribers and followers on all 3 platforms, you also need to do your homework. Don't take as gospel truth on Cannon 4 TV. There's no excuse. Go out into cyberspace, go around the corner, buy a newspaper, let the grey matter swirl around and come to an educated guess. Now, I know what James is talking about. I'm not going to mention the journalist's name. What I have an issue with is people get circulating that information there and saying what he's saying there is the gospel truth. It's not the gospel truth. What he's saying there is not the gospel truth. So, we have to be very mindful with 12,000.
It's irresponsible.
Of course it's irresponsible. It's irresponsible. So we have
it is irresponsible.
We've got 12,000 subscribers only on YouTube. We've got maybe 1,000 on Facebook and about almost 1,000 on Twitter. With that level of following we have a massive level of responsibility. I don't want to be feeding false information to anybody. And that's why I said 99% of the time, Ralph, you know this, I would say, I don't believe this news. But because of by the mere fact last year we had to do a poll because I believe the channel has to evolve. We asked the subscribers, what do you want to see a lot more of content on Cannon 4 TV? Oh, we want to see more transfer news. There's only so much I can do. But I give it from a humorous point of view. But I always say at the end, I don't believe it. I don't believe this. I don't believe that. It's paper talk. It's silly season. So I'm going to repeat the message I always say. Don't take what I'm saying as the gospel truth. There is no excuse. Go out and search for yourself. There's no excuse. Ralph.
Yeah, so subscribers, viewers who's listening in on our segment, what I'm going to say next is pretty much from my supporters kind of viewpoint. Now, we are very, very privileged in this time to have this platform to express an opinion. It's an opinion. It's not fact. Alex and I, we don't have insiders in Arsenal. We may have 1 or 2 people who love Arsenal, follow Arsenal from their timeline, and who can share stories. And we share stories in history is because of certain situations that have influenced us. When you read something in the newspaper, even when I used to, for example, I used to read the daily tabloids. I used to read the Daily Mirror because I felt at one stage it was all for Arsenal. But I always carried it with a pinch of salt because the tabloids can really build up players and destroy players. They build up teams and destroy teams. And we buy into it. If you buy that paper, but you don't react, you just think it's gospel truth, then in a sense, you're kind of like unconsciously complicit. You're just going along with it. So on this platform, what we say, because it is us being very responsible. You can have other platforms that are irresponsible I'm not going to name and shame them. You know, we've got a freedom of speech, but freedom of speech comes with responsibility. And if those platforms want to abuse that, that's up to them. This is not us. You know, we carry ourselves to a high standard, I believe. And yeah, we may have one or two silly comments. We may have one or two subscribers who are very, very direct in what they say, but that's okay, because that's the platform that we are allowed that space to breathe. But as Alex says, and as Jane Rose says, and I will say this now as a supporter and a fan, I have in the past been swayed, thinking like, oh, we're going to get this player, we're going to get that player, and it doesn't happen. And you think, oh, why didn't it happen? It's only when you go deeper into the issue, you realize why. When I say about James Rowe has a holistic approach to his journalistic views, it's because he angles his opinion on the journey of a player. We don't have that kind of luxury. When I was a youngster, I saw who I liked, and I followed them as often as I could do. Yeah, talking generational views, we used to get our information from the newspaper and from radio and from TV. But now the platform has gotten so wide, and now it's gotten so in depth, and now you can actually follow players, and it's a responsibility of the club to say, hang on, now you're opening yourself up to what could be a lot of criticism from one of your own fans. That has always been just the way it is. This model has just evolved. But at the central point of it is that you got to go in with a bit of common sense. You got to go with saying, hang on a minute now, is this story true? Is it factual? You know, I'm not going to be able to get to that player unless you're they're your family or your friend, close friend, or whatever it is. We've seen just a few days back how one player that was out, and one of his mates sold a story. So these are the things that players have to be responsible for. You have to look after your own circle of information, or your own circle of people. For us on this platform, it's about giving this content, but doing it in an honest kind of approach. If you don't think that we're doing it in an honest kind of approach, then you come to us. You can leave a comment, as we always say, but to be respectful of the fact. And furthermore, we all are responsible, because these days now, the information coming in, you can't take everything as a positive, definite, it's going to happen. You have to do your due diligence. This is what we do. Like I said to Alex and James earlier, you know, I was doing some homework for Deadlift channel soon to come, and my realization point was the fact that the amount of cups that Arsenal in Europe haven't won. We've only won two in its history. So that's my aha moment, my light bulb moment. But what do I do with that information? I want to share it to make sure that it's done in the right kind of way. So that's my responsibility. But if you're going to think that everything that we say is gospel, you're going to be disappointed, guys. You're going to be disappointed. We have a laugh. Don't get me wrong. We enjoy the space, but we're also very responsible of what comes out of our mouths, because words. Once upon a time, I remember our mum used to say, you know, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Well, actually, words can. And words can misdirect and can mislead you as well. So you have to stand back from everything and just go in. Or if you're going to go with a story, go in with it with a pinch of salt, because the last thing you want to do is go all in and be disappointed. And we have been disappointed for the longest time. We've been linked with so many players within this history. Actually, the amount of players that we've been linked with, we probably could have had about 3 or 4 11s. But this is the here and now. So we are being very responsible, and it's for you guys to understand
the world.
Yeah.
James, can I ask you a quick question, James? You know, I actually, it's funny. I was talking about this day before yesterday about modern day football, with players having their Instagram accounts and this, that, and the other, and then they go crying into social media about how they're being treated by the manager. But isn't that just not modern day football, James? Isn't that just the way things have evolved now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I would like to make a plea to Arsenal fans out there. I have interviewed over 300 professional players and managers at all different levels of world football. And I want to make a plea to Arsenal fans in particular. For everyone about a transfer, for everyone getting the influencer on their channel, for everybody retreating the main man about transfers, put yourself in the position of a player who players I've spoken to where a transfer has made their career and broken their career. Put yourself in the position of the young player who's been promised the earth. He's been told that he would train with the very best players of that squad, only to be shipped out on loan to a country where he doesn't have no command of the local language. He doesn't play. He feels very lonely. His family are not with him. Put a player who made that decision to move to that club, and he got really upset that he wasn't playing, and his injury really started to drink too much. Put yourself in his position. I see all around me the tweets of, oh, he's signing on 260 grand a week. But the fact remains, there's not a much emphasis on people giving the messages. But what they don't tell you is what I've been told, in particular, when they move abroad.
Right, I think James is having some problems with his connection there. Just about audible. I could just about make out what he was saying there. So we'll wait for him to come back in. It's from our perspective, we don't want to be sending out spurious comments. Oh, it's just come back in. Sorry guys.
Yeah,
James.
Sorry, the wonders of technology, eh? The wonders of technology. I just want to elaborate on what I was saying, particularly young players, when they move abroad for the very the wonders of technology, eh? Particularly young, what influencer and what the main man of transfers doesn't tell you is the young player moving abroad for the first time in their life is learning to cook, is learning to clean, is learning life skills. It's being independent for the first time in their lives. So it's not just about the £1 million transfer. It's about everything that comes with it. And you need to learn a new language when you move abroad. A young player needs to play. I spoke to one player once and I said, how do you go from this club to that club? He said, James, they really sold it to me. They really sold it to me. They told me I'd be training with the best of the best. My medical took an absolute age, in the position where people will tell you, oh, this person's got so many Twitter followers, but he won't tell you the truth. Has he ever spoken to a professional player and manager at length, especially in languages? That ever been done? I've been doing it over 300 times. And regardless of Champions League level or amateur level, every professional player has a story to tell. I don't tweet transfer rumours. Why? Because I've been told by players and managers I shouldn't have made that move. They promised me the earth. I shouldn't have made that move. My wife didn't want to go. My children were at school. This is real life. This isn't FIFA. And I just believe that the younger generations buy. Okay, let Arsenal buy more and more players that are only concerned about their pay packets. What are you gonna do when we're in the Championship? What are you gonna do then? As long as you've got the influencer, as long as some of them have the influencer on their channel, they do not care. But in the grand scheme of things, it really is not that important. What is important, as Alex says and Ralph says, you must have your own opinion. I'm a veteran of over 300 interviews with professional players and managers. I get abuse on social media. I get told you don't know what you're doing. I get told that Mark Albrighton's rubbish and he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. The same with James Ward-Prowse. I get told that my interviews are very 1, 2, 3. My response is, if you think you can do better, be my guest. But what they need to understand is Dutch players and managers are interviewed in their mother tongue. Spanish players and managers are interviewed in their mother tongue, and of course speaking in English. But at the moment, Arsenal as well, we are staring in the abyss. And the fans also need to take responsibility for that. They really do. Because our fans are just, oh, bye. And oh, yeah. I saw one influencer the Cup Winners' Cup win as the equivalent of the UEFA Conference League. And I think to myself, how dare you? How dare you say such a thing? Is he aware that in that competition, to get to that final, Parma knocked out Ajax, Benfica were also in it, Arsenal knocked out Paris Saint-Germain. Is he aware of those things? But oh no, it's not important. He's the main man to our fan base, so therefore what he says goes. We are in deep trouble as a trouble. And we're going to get out of it anytime soon. Really. And I worry because I was brought up as a formative Gooner, guys, in the early 90s with that famous 1990-1991 season. Now, if you look at the mix and the togetherness of that Arsenal squad and those fans, young, old, black, white, everybody came together. Everybody came together and everybody looked after one another. And I thought, this must be like, it's always going to be like how wrong I was. How wrong I was, because we've let a malaise seep in, which starts with 22 years for the same manager, where if you even uttered the words, I think there's somebody else that can do a better job, you would be ostracized, you would be put down. And look at the position we are in. We have a novice manager, an owner who only sees us as an investment, and a fan base who cares more about that YouTube influencer, who cares more about that fan channel than the actual players that used to play for the football club. We are slowly coming away from being a football club and just being a sign of the times, and it's sad to see.
Ah, dear Ralph. Did you want to add anything, Ralph, onto that before we go on to the next segment?
No, I think the way James covered it and the way you covered it is correct. Like I said before, when I was doing my bit of homework, I can, off the top of the bat, I can tell you that in 1982 to 83 season, we was 10th and we had 58 points. 78-79 season, we were 7th with 48 points. 87 to 88, we were 6th with 66 points. You see, and I did that off my own back because I want to make sure that what I'm talking about bears relevance to my time period, because I remember those times. I remember going to Islington Upper Street Town Hall when Ipswich beat us in 78. And going back there again in 79 when we beat Man United. I didn't go to the time when West Ham beat us the following year. So we went to 3 finals, and we out of 3 we won one of them. You know, but because of where we lived at that time, I remember it. I remember the buses going past Essex Road. I remember the fans going there. I remember when this is one segment I will add in with Des, when our sister Deborah, she called out to Rixie when we lost to Valencia, and Rixie snapped back at her because he was so upset. That's how close we were to the players when the players were going into the town hall. So all those kind of things I can relate, because those are things that it's not a theory. It's not what could have happened or wish. It's what actually happened when I supported this team. So we've gone through the low points and the high points, and we know when something's systemically wrong with the club, and we're there scratching our heads because we're thinking, well, how can it be that I can see this? It's as plain as the nose on my face, and yet the people above, the people who we're meant to trust, this processing the trust, as it were, can't do that. They don't have the guts, the gumption to say, I've got it wrong. You know, when has it become so guarded that when you get something wrong that you have to guard it? It's best that you get it out in the open and say, okay, let's grow from it, rather than hide it and hide and hide. And look what's happened to the team, to the club, 20 odd years in, and we are where we are. But the most important thing, going back, is the way that we gather this information. What's really important is the way that us as fans, instead of being decisive, we have to start looking in real terms. We have to start getting players from the Championship. Why do we have to go for the shiny, bright thing? We know that we got to get about 14 to maybe 15 players out the club. Where's this money? Like I said to you the other day, where's this money coming from? How are we going to get this money to get the next player in? How, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh dear. James, Andre Onana. Ajax player has been banned. And I know he had his hearing at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Heard yesterday. I don't even know what was the result. But why would Arsenal want to go and buy a player who has that cloud hanging over him? What is the reasoning behind that there, James? If we can make any sense of that.
He's cheap. He's cheap. He's cheap.
Okay.
His price tag. He hasn't made a competitive game since January. You see a lot of people tweeting a done deal, or yeah, they've been in touch since January. So they've been in touch. Wonderful. I was thinking about what about the youth team goalkeepers we've got? What happens to them? So Arsenal sign Onana, hasn't played since January. What happens to Matt Mason? What happens to the others? We've got to, until we haven't got any money left, only then will they start to use the youth setup. You get a lot of Arsenal fans saying, yeah, he was worth 45 million before the playing ban. We've got, where do I sign and all that rubbish. If you think how much money with Kolasinac, Mustafi, what happened to them? Mustafi cost £35 million. £35 million up in smoke. Kolasinac was a free transfer and £80,000 a week. It's absolute madness. We have got to go through our youth setup with a fine tooth comb and promote from within. We haven't got a lot of money. People are saying, oh, we'll sell this one, we'll sell that one, and bang, before you know it, we've got 60 million, and we can buy this, this, and this. It simply doesn't work. It does not work like that. There are many, many facets to a transfer. Here's a facet to a transfer that a transfer guru won't tell you. A young player walks into the office to sign his first professional contract, and his parents are there. But his parents' biggest concern in the negotiations is the mortgage gets paid off. So the player is yet to sign. The young player is yet to sign. And the parents are expecting their mortgage to be paid off. The financial rewards are so that that it's distorting the game. It really is distorting the game, and it's distorting a fan base. I spoke to the CEO of Martin Cassidy, and he was saying even at youth level, if the little boy or the little girl gets a kick and the referee doesn't see the foul, the abuse is nothing but abhorrent because the financial rewards are so big. And I just think to myself, if Arsenal carry on down this road of buying, we will end up like Leeds. People think it's a joke. It's not a joke. We finished 8th the last 2 seasons, and we have an owner who doesn't care. Everybody went mad when we signed Thomas Partey. Atletico still won the league without him. I saw him do 4 things: shoot way over the bar, concede a free kick, pass sideways, and pass backwards. So is that your going rate for £50 million a year? £50 million transfer fee and 260 grand a week. People tell me, oh, he needs time. He, along with many Arsenal players, saw Arsenal coming. They were literally begging at the feet. Aubameyang, sign the thing. Oh, please sign Aubameyang. He signed and he scored, what was it? I think 9 Premier League goals? 9?
Yeah.
9 Premier League goals at 400 grand a week. But he's my G and he's my player. He saw Arsenal coming. I love Ian Wright to bits. One of the greatest strikers Arsenal have ever had, ever likely to have. Ian Wright was mad with joy that Aubameyang was signing the contract, and Aubameyang was saying, "Yeah, I want to be like you." I want to be like Bergkamp. I want to be like Thierry Henry. But what he fails to understand is those players, individuals as well as collectively, were part of the success. It wasn't all. And Aubameyang turns up late for a North London derby. Aubameyang's, he's got a gold Lamborghini. Who cares? He's bleeding my club dry. And I go back to my been sent away AC Milan of all places because they're not entirely convinced about your discipline. Then that is your starter for 10. That is and that discipline has plagued him at St Etienne, has plagued him at Dortmund, and also plagued him at Arsenal, where he turns up late for a North London derby. All is forgiven. All is forgiven. But Unai Emery gets kicked out because he wasn't the right man for Arsenal. But yet it was Aubameyang that missed that penalty against Spurs in the derby, where we could have had an extra 2 points and we could have qualified for the Champions League. Very selective Arsenal fans. Very, very selective. The vitriol about Unai Emery is still, he has just won the Europa League with Villarreal, having not lost a game in the entire tournament. But he wasn't the right man for Arsenal. And Arteta and Unai Emery. Absolute rubbish. I repeat once again, he has just won the Europa League with Villarreal. In his first season with Arsenal, finished 5th and got us to our first European final for 13 years. An excellent first season. If anything, open that contract up and offer him a bigger deal. But oh no, he doesn't win in 7 games, so he's got to go. Look at us now. Villarreal are absolutely cock-a-hoop that they've won a European final. It's a village of 50,000 people. Won a major European title because of him and also the backroom staff. Players like Alfonso Pedraza, what a player, what a find. I mean, I know a lot about a lot of players, but I didn't know anything about Pedraza. What a player he is. And he's now European champion. I was fortunate enough to interview Emmanuel Diakers, who, when I spoke to him, he was managing in Cyprus. He's now assistant to Unai Emery. And I spoke to him in January 2020, and we spoke about Unai Emery. And I told him how embarrassed I was that he's been sacked by Arsenal. And we spoke about Unai Emery's characteristics. He said, don't you worry, James, Unai will be back. And they won the Europa League together as manager and a great backroom staff. Look at Arsenal. Unai won the Europa League 4 times. He gets Arsenal to the final in his debut season, and they let him go the next season. Madness. We're not going to be in Europe for quite some time. You got Arsenal fans saying, yeah, 1 transfer window, we'll be back in top 4 next season. We won't even finish top half next season. Never mind top 4. We won't even finish top half. But I don't know if it's, I've got to be seen to be, I don't know if it's some fans, they've got to be seen to be towing the line and the retweets and clout rather than being different. I am completely different and some people don't like it, but I maintain the fact of I interview professional players and managers almost every day of my life and I listen to them. And when Dean Hammond says to me, Albrighton is an amazing footballer, James. In the club, he's really, really highly rated. Not so much. Again, outside, he's always useless. He's rubbish. He's the Premier League and FA Cup winner. I had Arsenal fans telling me, yeah, Reece Nelson's better than Albrighton. Absolute rubbish. Mark Albrighton has had and has got a career. Reece Nelson hasn't got one. Honestly, it's madness. Myself going forward, I was said this to Terry yesterday on a WhatsApp message. Obviously, the older fans, there was always respect among Arsenal fans, especially young and old. I was saying to Terry yesterday, I'm not that old, but I remember the days when nothing would come out of Highbury, nothing at all. And now it's as if everybody rides the tweets. I mean, for me, I'm not interested in what goes on in the transfer window. I will look and see what happens, but I don't expect any kind of improvement next season. I hope that the next time Arsenal are in Europe, we have a new owner, a new ethos, hopefully a new manager. And but it will be a long time before Arsenal are in Europe. I see some people saying, "Oh, we'll get top." We won't get top 4 next season. We won't. But again, they've got to be seen to saying that, otherwise they're viewed negative. I go back to my original point. The clout on social media, in the grand scheme of things, it really does not mean anything. It's just another link upon which you can put your opinion or give your link to yours, or pass on your video. It's just another way for you to get your opinion out there. But the self-importance given to some of the Arsenal YouTubers and influencers is sort of disgusting, because in the real world, it simply doesn't work like that. And in real football, I quote what the assistant chief executive of the PFA, Simon Barker, said to me. I finished my interview with him and said the following: James, in the current situation of media within football and social media, we are often very, very wary of who we're speaking to. He said, I'd like to commend how you've gone about your business. I'd like to commend what you've done before, because it really is a throwback to a bygone era. And I was delighted for someone with such a standing in the game to say that about me. And you see with some social media outlets, the bigger influencers, the bigger YouTubers, they seem to be oblivious to all that. They may have football, but you've also got to know how it all fits together in terms of transfers. Transfers, it's not pretty money. It's paid over time. Arsenal is still paying for Pepe. Arsenal is still paying for Aubameyang. It's still paying for it. Pablo Mari, the same. But transfers are not paid in one full swoop. Arsenal are going to have to save money going forward, and that means using the youth setup. But they will learn the hard way. When we eventually go down, only then will people say, "Oh, we should have done it the other way." Oh, but they were champions to sack Unai Emery. They were champions to buy Partey. £50 million for someone who shoots way over the bar. If that's George, he's signed and he's doing shooting practice until he gets a ball on target. He's on £260,000 a week. £260,000 a week. Aubameyang, 406. Lacazette, what's that? 220. That's 880,000. That's £880,000 on 3 players of the Arsenal. 3 of them. But yet we need to buy more and more and more. Honestly, it's beggar's belief. It really does.
Ralph, do you want to say something very quickly before I go into live chat? Or sorry.
Okay. James is. No, I was going to say that really James is on point, and I think I'll put my hand up. I was one of those fans, James, that said, "Oh, you know what? Top 5. We seem to be going in the wrong direction. Unai Emery is blowing it, and we need somebody else in." Now, before Unai Emery came in, Alex and I was outside the Emirates when we was waiting for the new manager to come in after Arsene Wenger had said he's resigning and everything else. And Alex and I was outside the Emirates, and we was wondering who to come in. And Alex was saying, "Oh, you would want Ancelotti, or Ancelotti." Who was actually, you mentioned that you wanted to come in at that time?
Well, it was only Ancelotti I wanted.
I'm sure there was another manager that we spoke about, but when it seemed to be going towards Unai Emery, I was saying, "Well, I don't know anything about the guy. But there was also talk at that time about Arteta, and I said at the time, I don't think Arteta is the right guy to go in because he's just it doesn't make any sense. There's got to be some other managers who want to come in to manage rather than Arteta." When Unai Emery came in, I was like, okay, we've got him. It took him a few matches for him to bed himself in, and he did say there was 1 or 2 players, because obviously he was talking to Ljungberg. Ljungberg said to him, "There's 1 or 2 players that have got some kind of attitude, and you need to sort it out." Now, we're not privy to what's going on inside. We're going to pretty much report what happens, or the after effects of what happens afterwards. So when we got into that fateful Baku, when we dropped away from the top four, I was one of those. I was thinking, well, actually, I can't see how he's gonna fix this. I couldn't see it. You guys, I put my hands up. You guys saw it for what it was. I said, no, we've got to stick with this guy. I was one of those that said, well, no, I feel that whatever he's trying to do, it's not working. It's not working, and he's come out now. He's found that bit of redemption. He's proven it with a side that we've beaten previously in Champions League, what he can do with them, and the realization for some of us who asked him to leave, or not asked him to leave, but want him to leave. The realization is, right, it's not the manager, it's the players. Which players didn't show up? Which players have taken this club for a ride? How comes all of a sudden we're getting players, ex-players from our rivals into spots that we know that they're not good enough? We know that they need to be out from the club. And we keep on playing the same record over and over and over again, hoping for a different lyric. And it's not changing anytime soon. So I think in a sense, we are comparable. I put my hand up. I was one of those fans. But now what I'm looking at is the fact that where are we going to next? It's all great. 2020 vision is brilliant, but where are we going now? If it is, we know for a fact it's the owner. And what we'll have to do now is to start, as we did do, and Alex is, commendable for Alex's actions, doing not just a protest once in a blue moon because of this ESPN, Super League thing. It's because of really systemic changes has to happen from here on in, and it starts from the top. When the changes comes in, then hopefully we'll get to the place where we need to get to. But like you said, between 2 to 5 years, if the penny hasn't dropped within that period of time, the scary aspect is the fact that we could be playing in the Championship. And who would think that of Arsenal, being a so-called big club? It's happened to Leeds. If no one understood what happens to a big club, look at Leeds. Leeds was a model for what happens when you don't take care of something.
All right, let me go to live chat for the first time this morning. I've got John Wayne. This is howdy, my brothers, and howdy to you as well, John Wayne. For real, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Indeed.
Thank you, John Wayne.
Alistair Braun says, good morning, guys. And my VAR for the morning is Monty again. Once again, fantastic. Well gone, Alex, Ralph, and James. And big up to the Cannon Boy TV family. Thank you for that indeed. He's also reminded everybody, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new here. Alistair says, absolutely right, James. How will Arsenal shake the mid-table label, James? I mean, what can Arsenal realistically do to get rid of that label of being a mid-table team?
Well, no, I think we're going to have to. We need to look from within. I mean, Ballard's good enough to play for Arsenal. I defy anyone to tell me he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. When we send him out on loan, not only gain experience, he actually helps Blackpool to gain promotion to the league above, and that's an A plus, isn't it? But because he's not Brazilian or French or German or Spanish, because he's from Northern Ireland, oh no, he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. We need to look from within. We need to look from within. Saka, they love Saka. Saka is brilliant. But do you think he's going to stay at Arsenal long term? I don't think so, son. What, is he going to stay because he cares about the club? He's going to want to win things.
Yeah.
Things. If you're that good already at this age, like he is, he's going to want to win things. So that'll be the next thing. People love him now. He scores for England and amazing. Yes, it's fantastic. It's brilliant. But long term, if Arsenal don't start to improve, he will leave. He will go to maybe Manchester United or Manchester, even Chelsea, and we'll be left behind. So we need to start to really work on our ideas and make what I say is
Mansour Madal says, you are absolutely on point, James. I agree with you. I think fans should pay attention to the team management as well as the players' agents, not just the players' names in the news. Monty's a blessed earth, strong day, Ralph.
I love that. Thank you very much, Monty.
Gogo says, great show, guys. So real. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. No doubt, guys. I'm a bit of a joker. My brother would tell you that. But I'll say probably last few months, I've found myself ranting a lot more and raging a little bit more about Arsenal. What I've seen, we haven't even spoken about the Florida Cup. I haven't even spoken about it yet. I almost lost my mind yesterday hearing the news. Everton, Inter, and Millonarios, a Colombian club. James.
Well, I don't know if it's commercialism.
Yeah.
About making money, isn't it? We are a man that just wants to make money. We are like the new kits, for example. There's 3 of them. I've not brought a new Arsenal shirt for more than 12 seasons. It's 1971 replicas all the way for me. You can release 15 shirts. I'm not buying any of them. And, it takes a lot of willpower as well, but that goes into it with Mr. Kroenke, does go into the pocket of Arsenal. And, people buying the new shirts all the time. There's a saying, or used to be a saying, and I've been away for so long now, I don't really know, about keeping up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses, always buying the latest things. Nothing shows a strength of character than doing things your way, in the way that you want to do them, and cutting your cloth accordingly. I will be honest with you, in my first 5 years in this country, I didn't go to a single Arsenal game. And it really hurt me. It really hurt me not to go to Arsenal, the choice to come and emigrate to the Netherlands. I had to take my medicine as that respect. But obviously things improve and you go back and watch our. But fantastic memories, win, lose or draw. But next season, obviously with COVID, I don't know if I can go. But I only plan to go to home. And the rest away days if I'm allowed, because all the big games and the big names, it's all been done at Highbury, all been done at Emirates. And as you get older, your priorities also change. And it is quite strange to be tapped on the shoulder at the Emirates and someone asks you, "Where are you from?" I said Hampstead, but I live in Amsterdam. Oh, you guys? Oh, we're from Singapore. We're in London on a trip, and we thought we'd come to the Arsenal. That's a lot with the fans at the Emirates, and people wonder why our fan base is so dispersed. World game, but if you don't have the local fan inside the stadium to pass it on to the next generation, where's the club going to go? That's where you're in. I saw a famous quote from Tell last night on the WhatsApp chat. Florida Gooners. Well, the first step's been made, isn't it?
James, please, James, no. Dearie me. Let's go back in the live chat. Des says, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Des.
And Monty says, Alex, don't forget Canu player profile. Listen, I've got the requests have just mounted up, Monty. I've got so many I need to do, but I think for me, I do love doing the easy talk, but for me, my prized possession segment is doing the player profile, just the research on the players. Not who played for Arsenal over the last 10 or 20 years, but further back, 40, 50, and sometimes 60 years ago. But I need to get back on track of that. Des says, this is a chance for Arsenal to start afresh. Step 1, Kroenke out. Step 2, Deadwood out. Step 3, free the children. Step 4, only buy players the club needs. Better still, forget about buying players, just, transition the youngsters from the academy. What's the point of having an academy if you're not going to get or give these youngsters the daylight of opportunity to play in the senior squad? There's no point in having an academy. Just disband it. Get rid of it. Whoops. Sorry about that. Gogo says, I listened to many channels.
Look at Chelsea.
Arsenal.
Mason Mount and Reece James. Where did they come from?
Oh, well, yeah.
Mason
They've got one of
Mount
the
and
best
Reece James
academies.
for Chelsea. Where did they come
Yeah.
from? Yeah.
From the academy.
Mason Mount came from the Chelsea Academy, innit? And,
Yeah,
and Reece
yeah.
James the same. And they've won the Champions. But we can't do that. We have the Brazilian that played for Troyes and Dynamo Zagreb instead of a Daniel Ballard. We've got to have a shiny new Sport Atletico, played for Mallorca and was deemed surplus to requirements at Atletico. Atletico win the league. Arsenal buy him for 50, pay him for him. Talking here about youth, blooding for youth. Look at Chelsea. Chelsea have achieved something we are never, ever, ever going to do. That is win the league twice.
I think James is having communications problems. Gogo says, I listen to many channels concerning Arsenal, and I must confess, this one really cares about the club and not just for the likes and shares. Big thanks, guys. Well, I think James was saying that he gets some kind of a cruel and nasty comments on Twitter. We get quite a few on kind of, because I'm the main anchorman, I get quite a lot. And one of the comments was saying, no, look, you don't know what you're talking about. Go and get a proper job. Well, I do have a proper job. At the end of the day, doing this is just like a hobby for me.
Yeah.
And part and parcel of that hobby has been supporting Arsenal since the mid-70s, 76, 77. So I have every right to talk and give you my opinion as the way I see it. Go on, James. James has got some problems.
They wrote that. What do you have? The guy that wrote that.
Yeah.
Can you still hear? Oh.
James, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now, James. Yeah, go on, say it again.
I wanted to say. Oh. Now. Okay. I just wanted to say the guy that wrote that message. You don't know what you're talking about. Get a job. What job has he or she got? What job has he or she got? I'm religious, but we're all going to the same place. I'm not religious or anything, but we are all going. Some of us for others. For example, there are lots of people that do this as a hobby, and they give up time for shows like this. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Simple as. Or come on the show and tell us your opinion.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, James, just sometimes I think, as my mentor would say, the best response to a fall is silence. So I didn't bother respond to him when I just go on and just listen. I know we're doing the right thing on Cannon 42. We're 3.5 years into doing this project. I don't know where it's going to take us, but I'm here just for the ride. I'm enjoying the rides, but I just find myself, like ranting a little bit more, which is not good. It's not good. Monty says, thank you to 25 Gooners here, helping with us. Actually, it's like 30 and rising. We appreciate your time and interaction on this wonderful channel of ours. And Cube says, yeah, Matt Macy. Matt Macy. Oh, my goodness. Simple answer.
Yeah, what happens to him
cheap.
now?
Yeah, what happens to him? Gets loaned out, sold.
What happens to it? Yeah, exactly. What happens to Matt Macy? How much money did Arsenal spend training him up? Plymouth also played their part when they had him on loan. But again, Onana's cheap. Guys, as you know, we're an hour ahead here. I've got to start to prepare for my upcoming interview today. Just to say, it's been a great joy, and I hope you all have too. And look forward to next time with the interviews. Just to let you know, Football CFB will be posted, and there is progress made at the Secret Publisher. So onwards and upwards, and stay tuned for some decent interviews at all levels of world football.
Wonderful, James. Wonderful. And I think
Nice
actually,
one, James.
well, I think we're going to end it as well. I know you got some communication problems, but yeah, we're running just for dead on an hour. There you go. Hit the hour spot. Ralph, enjoy your birthday today. No, that will be in
Thank you.
communication throughout the day. James, as always, it's always wonderful having you on Canon 4 TV. I'll remember to leave James's Twitter handle link in the description box below. I myself, I will not be back later on this evening. It's just one show today. I've got some more important things to be thinking about throughout the whole day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one here. It's just, topical, serious, a little bit jokey-fied, but that's just the way we do things over here in Canon 4 TV. And I'm going to say this message for one more time. Just because we talk about it on Canon 4 TV, you will see 9 times out of 10 I say, actually, the news, I don't believe the news anyway. But you yourself have to assume responsibility. Go out and do your homework. Okay, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. But gospel truth doesn't come from Canon 4 TV. Go out and do your own research. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for that. Ralph, listen, again, have a brilliant day. And James, you too. Wonderful stuff. And the people love you, James. And you too, Ralph, as well.
Appreciate that, guys.
Thank you very much.
Nice one, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Brilliant.
My apologies.
If you've been one,
apologies for technical difficulties, and I hope Ralph enjoys the rest of his day.
I will do, mate. Many thanks.
Brilliant, brilliant. So if you've been wondering who or what you've been listening to, you've been listening to Canon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over.